Hey guys, just a quick announcement before the beginning of the episode. We have a Patreon now, so if you'd like to support us, head over to patreon.com/playdndpod. And for as little as $1, you'll get access to our exclusive episodes, which will be going up on this coming Saturday. And you'll be helping us get on iTunes and Spotify and wherever you listen to your podcasts. So if you feel so inclined, again, that's patreon.com/playdndpod. All right, now to the episode.
Welcome to Play D&D, where we take your favourite characters and send them on fun new adventures using the power of D&D. I'm Rory, I'll be playing Star-Lord, and this is Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1, Episode 5.
So, before we begin, we have one more character to introduce, and that is Mantis, played by Quinn. Hi, Quinn.
Hi.
So Mantis is from a monastery that lives on its own solid, its own world that is only inhabited by the people of this monastery, and it's a smaller world. It's like the size of Pluto, but somehow has an atmosphere. And this monastery is of the Church of the Living Planet, and essentially they worship Ego, the living planet. And so their whole mission is that they want to promote nature in the universe, and any technology that is harmful to any other being or living thing is considered heathen to them. They're totally against it. So they're against war, anything that essentially hurts the nature of the universe. And so Ego is what they worship because he is, in their mind, the perfect embodiment of pure nature. Mantis has gone through this essentially program with the monastery, and they train her not only to fight, to defend themselves, but only with natural weapons, but also to spread the message of essentially peace, world peace.
Right.
And so at the end of this program, she passes a test of defeating her master in one-on-one combat. And then she is ready at age 17, 18 or whatever to go out into the universe and preach this message essentially. The way that they go out is that their master chooses a place to put them, and then they just go from there. So they're kind of like wandering missionaries. Mantis was placed in the kiln as an inmate to preach to the poor souls that have lost themselves in in the kiln. But she is treated exactly like an inmate because their whole system is based on you're treated as everybody else. And so we just get that backstory out of there. And now...
You messed up the part about me passing the test.
That's not super important.
But I had a really cool moment taking down an assassin.
You did take down an assassin. And so...
Dude, don't even. I took down 3 starships on myself.
And so we meet all of you, and you wake up to the morning alarm blaring in the kiln. So you all wake up. Oh, do you not have your character sheet? Give me 2 seconds, I'll get it to you.
I'm leaving you a private message.
Friggin', there we go. Oh, frick. Yeah, so Rory, I told you about your extra personality trait.
Yep.
Thank you.
Matt, you have an extra personality trait that I'm giving you, and essentially, since you're new to D&D, I'll explain it. But the way personality traits work is it's kind of guiding you to role play as the character. So it's picking a backstory almost. And so the one I added for you is that if you see someone with a prosthetic limb or prosthetic anything, you're immediately compelled to try to obtain it and laugh at them without it.
Perfect.
And the way that personality traits work is if I feel that you're acting like to them, so say in game you see somebody with a prosthetic and you go and like try to get it off, essentially, I can give you a point of inspiration, which just means you can re-roll something, or you can give it to somebody else.
Okay, neat.
Yeah, just so if you roll like really bad, I'll be like, do you want to use your inspiration? And you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So you wake up to the alarm that's blaring, and it says, "Up and at 'em, inmates!" And the energy field, that is like your prison cell door, essentially, goes off, and you're admitted out into the hallway. And this is like a routine thing. It's just breakfast, so they all kind of file into the hallway and go down into the courtyard area. Unless you want to do something different.
I assume we have no equipment or anything.
No, you have a jumpsuit.
Yep.
So my spacesuit is gone then.
Your what?
My spacesuit is gone, I assume.
Your spacesuit is gone?
Did I get away with wearing it into prison?
No, you did not.
I wanted to make sure, that's all.
So you all walk down, and when you walk out of your cell, there's essentially just a wall across, and it's just this big hallway with cells like lining the one wall. And so you go down this series of hallways following everybody else that's going, and you pour into this central massive square that acts as like your courtyard. This is where you spend pretty much all your time. It's really big, like it's the size of like a couple city blocks. And it has in various areas various things to do. And in the one along the one wall is like a buffet line of food for your breakfast, which is why you are here right now. So
Okay, join the line.
okay. So I guess you guys just get food and sit down. Just so you're aware. What? Sorry.
Do we know each other?
No. Well, I'm just gonna get to that actually. So, you all didn't arrive at the same time. Drax, you've been here for a couple of weeks.
Nice.
And you've established that you already have a name as Drax the Destroyer, but you've established that you're not to be messed with. But you didn't really take the head honcho role, so you're not running the place. You're just like the guy that nobody wants to mess with, really.
Sure.
The head honcho role was taken by Yondu, who has been in prison for a few days less than you. And he is obviously the Ravager, but he knows kind of like who has a bounty on who, and he's essentially running this prison now. Rocket and Groot, you got in so essentially like Star-Lord, Gamora, and Mantis all got in the same day. Rocket and Groot, you got in like 2 or 3 days before that. So you kind of you guys have like a lay of the land a little bit, whereas Gamora, Star-Lord, and Mantis are all like newbies to this place.
Okay.
Yep.
When you walk in, Star-Lord, once you walk into the main area, you immediately see down the line Yondu staring daggers at you. You left the Ravagers, Yondu's clan of the Ravagers, stealing one of their ships, and you already owed him a life debt, and then you stole a decent amount of credits or units and your ship, the Milano. So he is pissed at you, and he has a really high bounty on your head.
Okay, I'm gonna try and avoid eye contact with him.
Okay.
I don't know him.
Behind him stands menacingly a really tall Kree warrior that seems to act as his like personal like right-hand man essentially in this place.
Okay.
And then you see about 3 or 4 people in front of you. You see this beautiful green-skinned woman. Let me see if you know who she is. No, you
Drax
have,
the Destroyer.
you know vaguely that her name is Gamora, and she also has a bounty on her head. And Yondu's kind of eyeing her as well, but you don't know too much detail about her.
Okay, so I don't know that I shouldn't mess with her.
No, you have no idea.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll just keep my head down in the queue for now and see how this plays out once I'm out of the queue.
Okay.
Do I know anybody that I see?
You see Yondu, and you know him from just his reputation. Let's see if you recognize Star-Lord. No. You look back, and you like briefly stop to see this one like guy that seems kind of handsome, and then you just keep going.
Just a nobody.
You see Rocket, and you see like Rocket sitting on like Groot's shoulder though, and you know them. They're like classically a team that does basically like smuggling and stealing jobs. They just kind of pick up jobs wherever they can find them. Drax, everybody notices Yondu. Drax, nope. Drax doesn't see anybody else.
Oh, I'm just like staring at the wall.
And then
Nobody notices Drax because he's invisible, so it's fine.
That's what it is.
Rocket knows Gamora and Drax both from reputation. He keeps an eye out for assassins because he knows that at any point if he betrays somebody, which he sometimes does, they could send an assassin after him, and he wants to be familiar with like who they are. So you recognize Gamora and Drax both as kind of assassins for hire. Groot, I think you're probably fixated on food.
Okay.
Okay. So you all go through the line and get your plates of food, and do any of you want to actively sit next to or far away from anybody else?
Yeah, I'll sit
Yeah,
there.
I'll stay with Groot.
Okay. What was that, Star-Lord?
I'll sit near Gamora.
Okay.
I'm headed over to Yondu.
Oh, then no.
Okay.
Then I will sit myself.
Okay. Do you want to sit by anybody?
Well, do I see Gamora first of all?
You see her because she kind of stands out with her green skin, but you don't actually know who she is. You in the monastery were pretty sheltered on, what's going on out there, especially like criminals.
I'm gonna sit with the hideous bug lady.
Aside from myself, that I see, I would go over to her because all these creepy men.
Okay. All right. So Mantis goes over with Gamora, who's heading towards Yondu. Where'd you say, Drax? Where are we gonna sit with?
I'm gonna sit with the hideous bug lady.
Okay. So Drax, Mantis, and Gamora are heading over to Yondu. Star-Lord sits by himself, and Rocket, Groot, do you want to do anything?
Not really. We'll just watch everybody else.
Okay. So Gamora, as you approach Yondu, he sees you, and I'm not even gonna try to do an impression of him. I can't. I was going to try to attempt, but I'm not going to. He's like,
Oh, come on, man. If I'm going to do the accent when I talk.
he's like, what do you want? No.
I like the effort. It's there.
Wait, no. I can't, no.
Can you just go like straight pirate, maybe?
Yeah, please.
What do you want? Yar.
There you go.
No, he's you should watch yourself in here, lady. You have a very pink bounty on your head.
You should watch yourself in here, lady.
Young lady.
This is going really well.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to like get in with him since he's obviously like head of the stuff around here, and I gotta establish myself as someone not to be messed with, but I also gotta figure out how to get out of here.
Okay.
So he seems like the best bet to me.
All right. So
I
what are
don't
you
know
gonna say?
anybody else.
What are you gonna say? Just
I'd
nothing.
be like, hey, dude. Wow. I'm like blanking. Okay, so you seem to be in charge around here.
That's correct.
And how does one get on your good side?
Not with a bounty that big. He nods to the Kree next to him, and he says, "Get her."
Alright,
Let's roll initiative.
let's do this.
If I see this happening, I'm going over.
Okay. Point of inspiration.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to get involved, or do you want to watch?
Is anyone else in the room have any kind of prosthetic?
Let's see. You see one person. He's like just now getting out of the line, and his left leg from like just above the knee down is this like janky prosthetic. It's like he's like very much limping with the prosthetic.
All right, perfect. I'll just remain close to him.
Okay. Drax and Mantis, anything you want to do?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna hold back, and I'm gonna wait to see if any I'm gonna keep an eye on the guards and see if any Nova join the fight.
Okay. You
Yeah.
see, the Nova, just real quick, are standing like on balconies up like a story above you. So you know how
Yeah.
like in warehouses, there's like above that, there's the catwalk. Yeah, that's what the word.
Mhm.
So they're essentially on these like this whole network of catwalks above you, and anytime they can just jump down and get involved. But so far, they're not doing anything.
If they jump down, let me know.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Gamora is getting attacked by
Yondu and his men. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that, and I just slowly turn away and walk the other direction.
Okay.
Nice. Solid.
All right. So let's see initiative. So the people in the fight right now are the Kree, Gamora, and then Star-Lord. You're running in, right?
Yep.
Okay. See who goes first. Ooh, the Kree's going first. So the Kree walks up and kind of like
Oh, gross.
cracks his knuckles, and he just punches you, I guess. Where's your character sheet? There's so many character sheets here.
Organize them.
Yeah, so he's gonna hit and deal 4 points of damage.
All right.
Quick, where's my notebook? There it is. So many papers on such a little card table. Alright, so he deals you 4 damage, and now it is your turn.
Well, I'm going to punch him back.
You have 10 hit points.
Oh boy.
Good. You are
If
hurting.
I start dying, will they intervene? Like the.
You don't know?
Nova? Oh, great.
You don't know how
That's
involved they
nice.
are in this. You suck. So you swing to punch at him and just like end up like hitting some orange-faced person in the jaw like right next to him. That person goes down. You
It was
clocked
just
him.
like an intimidation thing. I wanted to be like, look, here, I'll punch this guy. I don't even care. Definitely how it went.
Holy crap, he is intimidated.
The
He sees
Kree?
that. Yeah, he just backs
Yeah.
up a little bit. Star-Lord, your turn.
Okay, I'm actually just gonna turn to Yondu and say, Yondu, it's me you got business with. Call your dog off.
Okay. Odds or evens?
Odds.
Okay. Yondu's just holds up a hand and the Kree stops. And he's like, what do you want, boy?
I hadn't thought that through.
Odds or evens again.
Evens.
He's like, fair enough. And he tells his guard to sit down. He's like, let's have a chat.
Okay, I sat down.
Okay. I guess we're out of initiative now. That didn't last long.
Drax is disappointed.
You could try to instigate something if you want.
No, I'm just gonna wait.
Okay. Odds or evens, Drax?
Oh, odds.
Okay. The guards seemed disinterested in the fight even when it was happening, so.
Okay, that's upsetting.
Yondu sits down and Star-Lord, and he says, what can you offer me that would stop me from collecting my property?
Well, how about a way out?
Keep talking.
Well, in fact, let's check. Do I know of Rocket?
Let's see. Yeah, you know of Rocket and Groot as like the buddy crime team.
Okay, so I know that they'd have a good chance of having a plan of getting out. They're probably planning something.
Actually, I wanted to mention this. Rocket
Mm-hmm.
and Groot, I guess. Both of you have broken out of multiple prisons, and so you know a lot about how to get out of these things. But instead of me just tell you all the possible ways you could get out, when you want to like know something about the prison, just ask me, and then I'll tell you what you know about that particular thing. So if you want to know about like guard rotation, or if you want to know about like the security system, all that I can give you details on. But like instead of just me laying it all out, you can just ask me.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So Star-Lord, back to you. You know that Rocket has broken out of like at least 5 pretty high security prisons. Never the Kiln, but he has a lot of experience.
Okay, so I'll say on the... Me and a couple guys, we're working on something that will get us out. If you want to come, will that make us square?
Let's see if he believes you.
Can we call us a performance check?
How dramatic are you about it?
Oh, very.
Okay.
Incredibly.
Then sure, let's call it a performance check. Okay, so performance. Dang. Ooh. He seems skeptical.
Can I use my inspiration? And
Okay, yeah, sure. I was gonna say you have +5 to inspiration or to performance, but you rolled a 4. So use your inspiration. Yeah, okay. He is totally into it. He's like, all right. He's like nodding a little bit, and he's like,
Does Drax hear this?
does Drax hear this? Yeah. He like hears Yondu's like excited breathing.
Yeah, Drax is gonna switch tables and sit with them,
Okay.
and just not say anything about it.
As you walk up, Yondu tightens. He's had a few conversations with you over the couple weeks that you've been in here about trying to essentially get you as like his bodyguard, but you have not been into it, and so he's actually afraid of you.
Good.
Yeah, Yondu's like, we could make this work.
all right. Well, then I'll get back to you.
All right.
I get up and walk away.
All right.
I follow.
I follow him and be like, what's the plan? What
Did you hear this? Where
I
are
was
you?
standing there.
Have you been standing there?
Yeah, because
Okay.
the fight ended and I didn't walk away.
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to
You've
this.
just been awkwardly standing through this whole debate. Okay, sure. Mantis, what are you doing?
Well, since I walked away, I'm probably just off in some corner eating my food.
Yeah.
So
Let's see.
chances are I did not hear it at all.
Let's see if you overheard it. If you roll high enough, you might have. You did not.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Okay. But you do see Gamora, who's that girl that you were walking over to hang out with before, and some white guy, and and Drax. You know who Drax is. Stand up and start walking over. Are you guys approaching Rocket?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we'll be going.
Rocket and Groot, you see these guys walking over to you guys.
Okay. Are they within talking range?
Sure.
I will just stare at them until they talk first.
Okay. Star-Lord, you just see this raccoon staring at you. You're the only one that knows he's a raccoon.
Okay. Rocket, right?
Yes.
How are we getting out of here?
Who says you can get out of here with me?
We were all interested in that response.
Well, you're going to need a pilot.
That's true, but you have to prove yourself first.
Real quick, Rocket. You have some experience as a pilot, but not a ton. Did I say that you recognize Star-Lord?
I don't think anyone recognized me apart from the other.
I don't think I did.
Well, I don't think I rolled for you, because out of anyone you would know, because you keep an eye out on bounties, and like who has a bounty on their head and who's worth going after, and you've toyed with the idea of going after Star-Lord. So you know who he is, and you know that he's actually a pretty good pilot.
Alright.
I'm also a very good pilot. Just point that out.
You're also what?
I'm also a very good pilot. I only crashed
So
2 of the 3 ships
with
that I had.
with the starship system I'm using, there are like 4 tiers of training. There's like untrained, trained, expert, or an ace. Drax, you are below untrained.
Hey, it worked out, all right?
Because you flew 2 ships into 2 other ships, and then you crashed one into the ground. So, no, you are untrained.
I think you're missing the point.
Rocket, you're like, I'm gonna put you at like half trained. So you're like trained is a +4. You're like a +2.
All right.
And Star-Lord, you're a +4.
Good.
Okay. In order for you to get out of here with us, you need to do something for me first.
What is?
It's essential to our plan of getting out of here.
All right.
Point of inspiration.
Well, you see that guy that's standing rather close to us over at that table?
Yeah.
Do you see how he's standing?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I like to change that. I want you to get his leg for me.
Okay.
Then we'll talk.
Okay. How does this guy look?
So he's like he's probably like about in his 50s. He's a human. He's like hunched over, and just kind of like almost dragging his prosthetic limb. Like he's using it more as like a peg leg than an actual functioning leg. He doesn't look like he could defend himself very well though.
Okay.
I'll get him.
I'll say a rocket before I do this. Like, okay, I'll get it. But we have to take a few people with us too.
Like who?
Well, these 2 that just started following me. And Yondu over there.
All right, that's acceptable for now.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna tap Drax on the shoulder and gesture for him to come with me.
No, I'm gonna fall.
All right. Let's go back to Mantis real quick. You've noticed this now, like something suspicious is happening.
Well, considering Mantis is a lawful good character,
Yes.
I would imagine she would go to the guards. So I'm gonna go to the guards and tell them, hey, there are people doing something rather suspicious. You should probably keep an eye on them.
You guys are gonna get busted. Okay, so besides the guards on the catwalk, there are like obviously doors into this main room that lead into the hallways that lead you back to your cell. At each of these doors are stationed 2 guards, so I guess you would just walk up to the closest one. You walk up and the guard is, well, he doesn't say anything. he just kind of looks at you.
Those people over there, and I point to Rocket.
Yeah, you point to the group.
They're acting very suspicious. It's possible they're going to start up something such as a riot.
Do any of us notice that?
Does Drax hear this?
Well, the guards, real quick, the guards just says, if they start something, we'll stop it. Don't you worry.
Right.
Are you good with that? Or do you want them to act now?
Well, since they haven't done anything wrong yet, I can't
Okay.
tell them to go stop them.
I mean, they did something wrong. They're in here.
Well, I get the
Okay.
rules of the prison.
Zach, you killed a Nova Corps officer. Don't even talk about it.
They have
I feel like I was justified.
disrupted the peace yet.
Okay, the quote unquote peace in the prison. Okay.
That's prison too.
Okay. Groot, you notice. Drax, you notice. Nobody else does.
Okay. I tell Rocket that.
Okay.
They noticed me.
You gotta say your line, Groot.
I am Groot.
He remembered.
Also,
Groot.
just so we're clear, everybody has a translation device, so there's no like languages that I have to deal with, which makes my job easier. But nobody can understand Groot right now except Rocket, because his language is like old and weird. So
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll tell everybody else.
okay,
Just so we know something suspicious is going on.
what do you guys want to do?
So
Oh, and Drax, you heard too, so you can
Yeah,
confirm.
I
the
was
story.
gonna tell Star-Lord, but yeah, we don't need to know.
Okay.
So we all know now that someone's ratting on us.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know specifically that someone is Mantis.
Oh dear. I'm gonna
Okay.
go hide in myself till this is all over.
You try to walk... Are you actually going to do that?
Yes.
Okay. You try to walk through the door, and the guard bars you. He's like, you're not admitted back until night.
Please, for my own safety.
Your safety doesn't concern me.
Even though I could be murdered.
I walk over.
Your murder doesn't concern me.
I walk over, grab Mantis by the arm, and pull her to a table and be like, "Come on, we're gonna have a talk."
No, thank you.
Do you want to resist? 'Cause I think this falls under the rules of grappling.
I'll go with it for now.
Okay.
Because I'm right in front of the guards, and if I try to do anything that could kind of go against what I want them to do.
Okay. So you, Gamora, are you pulling her over to the table with everybody?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
We'll have a nice talk with her.
Oh,
So the snitch is at your table.
ego save me.
All right, listen.
Point of inspiration.
Are you like? Do you not want to get out of here? Like, why are you following along with everybody? Like, why are you obeying the rules? It's a prison. Come on.
I was sent here on a mission for my church.
Oh my word, she's an egotist.
I like that. Let's see who knows. What an egotist is. Star-Lord, you know.
Okay.
Drax, you know. Rocket, you have an inkling.
Okay.
You, like, have a vague idea that there's some weird church out in, like, what would be considered in this universe to be, like, the Outer Rim.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want to do?
I don't know.
Good.
She's trying to spoil our plans. Should we do something with her?
Let's keep a close eye on her so that she doesn't interrupt us.
They're talking about you in front of you, just so you know. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just keep her here, keep her quiet while we get the like.
Mm-hmm.
We should just knock her out and hide her somewhere.
It's a little obvious.
I'm with the tree.
Okay.
Not that subtle, so.
Is it getting put to a vote, or is that the general consensus?
That seems good to me.
No, I'm kind of
All
against that. But okay.
You seem to be outvoted by a lot of people who are significantly stronger than you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just keep quiet.
Okay. Groot, are you like who's gonna knock her out?
Let's go.
I'll do it.
Let her do it.
Okay. Groot walks up and he's gonna try and knock her out. Let's see.
I'm gonna scream for help.
Let's see
Scream
initiative
really
first. Groot's going first.
Oh.
So
Outside by a
Groot's
tree.
gonna just slap you. What is your unarmed strong? Are you doing? I'm assuming you're gonna do it non-lethal.
Can I just like strangle her until she passes out?
Absolutely, and especially with that roll. Yeah, so Groot just like extends his wooden tendrils and they wrap around your neck and like lift you about like an inch off the ground. But he stands in such a position that he is between you and the guards that you were previously talking to. And he's grown his legs a little bit, so he's standing over you and almost sort of like an umbrella. So he's hiding you from the guards.
Nice. The perfect crime.
Let's see how your
Can
constitution is.
Can Groot like expand and like put her inside himself while we do
Yes,
all this?
but that would be more suspicious. Him just growing a little bit is less suspicious than
Groot
him
suddenly,
eating
like,
her.
much bulkier.
Oh, like Mantis is inside of a group suit of armor. Let's see how your constitution is.
Crap.
Whoo! You pass out. Like, he touches you and you just pass out from fear. Mantis is just faints, I guess.
Ain't so bad I died.
Alright, well, we need to hide this body somewhere. So,
Body, she's still alive. It's fine.
Rocket doesn't care.
Yeah, maybe not for long.
I'm telling Drax to go hide the body somewhere.
All right, you sure about that, man? All right,
That's his responsibility now.
Drax is still gonna pick up a table, put her under the table, and put the table back down and walk away.
I don't know that well.
Point of inspiration.
Yeah.
Candy's not like candy.
Ego saved me.
Candy's not like candy.
Well, that was amazing.
It was.
That was
I'm
very
not denying
Drax-like.
it, but-
People are role playing well. I'm happy.
It's hard to roleplay.
Well, once you like just kill someone, you're good.
Yeah, but my dice doesn't roll well
No,
enough
it
to
doesn't.
just kill someone.
All right. So Drax just kind of lays her down, picks up a table, and puts it over her. She's not hidden at all. I'm not even gonna roll perception. Except, actually, she is hidden from the catwalk, and there's only about maybe 10 guards on the floor. So actually, this is work out all right.
Yeah, and if we like stand around the table, if we even like sit at the table, nobody's gonna notice she's down there.
I'm gonna see if somebody noticed at all while you were doing it.
Please, Ego, save me.
You see like
You're not gonna be quiet.
two or three guards from the catwalk kind of look over, and they're watching you, but they haven't done anything yet. But they seem aware that there's an unconscious inmate underneath the table.
Let's just sit down and have a chat about how we're getting out.
At the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a disaster for me.
If you want to, one of you could try to keep an eye on that group of guards, and like see if essentially if they talk to anybody else and tell anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But that would mean you're focused on that, and so any perception rolls about anything else you wouldn't be able to roll them.
I'm still focused on trying to get this leg, so I'm not going to do that.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that.
I'll keep an eye on the guards.
Okay, so Gamora sits down and just cautiously every now and then is looking up at those guards. What do you guys sit down and I guess try to hash out a plan?
Well, they were gonna go get the leg.
Oh, you're gonna go get the leg, yeah.
Yeah.
So how's that playing out?
Okay, I'm going to take Drax with me. Signal to, because I haven't learned his name yet. Walk over to the guy. The man in question.
So you walk over and what do you say or do?
I say, hey man, I'm going to need your leg.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Drax. I was asking what you were saying to Drax to try to get him to help.
Well, I assume Drax would just stand there looking scary. That's all I really need from him. So.
Okay. You cool with that, Drax?
Yeah, I mean, that's my job, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see Drax intimidation check. Oh, the guy pees himself a little bit.
Good.
He's terrified. He's like, "What do you want?"
It's the leg.
Okay, Sonny, here's the leg.
Okay, I help him with it as best I can.
He just like sits down, pulls it off, and hands it to you.
Okay, that's signal to Drax and we walk away.
Okay. You walk back to the table. Rocket, you see this whole exchange.
Perfect. All right. This is exactly what I was looking for. You've proven yourself.
Oh, quick, something you should know. Before you start hashing out a plan, you all know that a couple levels above you. So, the way the kiln works is it's like, you know, like those big metal shipping containers that are like in all the movies whenever they go to the docks.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like when Xandar built the kiln, it's like they sent up a bunch of those and just kind of mashed them together to make the kiln. It's not super orderly, but they like put one up in orbit and then went back up and like melded another one with it. And so eventually they built this whole thing and cleared out the middle and stuff.
Okay.
So you know that a few levels above you is where they store your stuff. So all your weapons, belongings, and also ships, if you have any, which Star-Lord does.
Okay, cool.
So you know that is you probably want to get your ship.
Yeah.
And that is something that you have that you could tell them that you have, essentially.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll do that. I will tell them I have a ship.
Everybody
Probably
knows
would
that he
have
has
done
a ship.
that in the pilot conversation.
Okay. So now you guys, I guess, are going to try to hash out a plan?
All right.
If I wake up.
What are the security doors in the facility like?
Since you got
Or
a
the
one,
energy fields.
let's see. Mantis just asked me how long she's out for. You're out for 2 hours, so they have a little bit of time. Sorry, continue, Rocket.
Oh, that's me. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So, what are the doors like in the facility?
The doors to this room or the doors to outside?
Both for this room and for the place that leads to where the ship is.
Oh, okay. So you're in like the bottom half almost of the kiln, which is kind of cleared out to make like the courtyard.
Yeah.
And then there's up on the catwalk, there are a bunch of doors leading out, and they lead to tunnels that lead to staircases that go up to a whole system of hallways that have like lockers essentially, and they have all your stuff in them. So you know it's like above you, and you have to get like to the catwalk and then out one of those doorways and find your way through like almost this maze.
Right.
And then the doors to the outside, you know that at the top of this whole facility, they have a couple big hangar doors that open up for like, you know, ships that want to leave and everything. See how detailed your knowledge is. Okay. You know that you could probably, if you can get into the system, create a sequence where you could release Quill's ship and like essentially put it onto the landing platform so you could open the doors and leave. Or you could break it out, whichever one you want.
All right. So first off, we need a distraction. So we're going to need to start a riot, as that is the only acceptable distraction in a prison.
Works up at the word riot.
Oh, yeah. Basically a fight, Drax, so you can understand. And then we'll need to have Groot transport us up to the catwalks to start getting us into the tunnels. So first step, start a riot. Everyone else stick close to Groot, and he'll take us up one at a time to the catwalk.
How will this riot go? Will they escape prison? And does Rocket really need that guy's leg? Find out next time on Play D&D. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to find us on the socials, you can find us on facebook.com/playdndpod or on Twitter and Instagram at playdndpod. If you'd like to support us, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/playdndpod. And if you'd like to find more about Rory, you can check out his amazing podcast, Dog Hair Presents, on iTunes and wherever you find your podcasts. He also has a YouTube channel, Hangover Reviews, and he's also at Hangover Reviews on Instagram and Twitter, and at Dog Hair Network on Twitter. And if you'd like to find more from Joel, aka Groot, you can find him at Joel G, that's JOL space G, on YouTube. Thanks for listening, and tune in next time.